Everyone, camera's still in the shop. I have to do the videos reviews like this, so it's kind of something we just kind of have to deal with right now. Hopefully it'll improve over the next couple of weeks. Alright, not the biggest fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think I've only seen 4 or 5. But a lot of the characters I do like are in this. So I went and saw it opening weekend, and none other than I'm talking about Avengers Infinity Wars. Avengers Infinity Wars is where Thanos, the main big large-scale villain that has been projected since I think as far back as Avengers 1. He's tired of being in the shadows. He wants to be the big baddie, and he wants all the stones for his gauntlet. If you've been following all the Marvel movies, you kind of know where more or less all of them are. One was in Avengers, one was in the first Guardians movie, Doctor Strange has one, Vision has 2 from Age of Ultron, and if he collects them all, he can pretty much do whatever he wants. So our heroes are in several separate stories when they figure out we have to defeat the big baddie. This movie is really good, actually. One of the fears I had is, which one of my major complaints about Captain America Civil War is, it had too many stories about people I didn't care about. This one, they kind of streamlined people I didn't care about with people I did like. I don't care about Thor, but he introduced himself to the Guardians universe, which I love, and that interaction was amazing. Iron Man, I really don't have a problem with. Doctor Strange, he's whatever he is, but then they started interacting with each other, and they were pretty good. And then you throw in Spider-Man with their storyline, and that was really cool. Then we have our secondary character, or more secondary characters, with this whole story with Vision and Scarlett Witch, which once again, just like I believe in Civil War, which I didn't care anything about Vision and Scarlet Witch's storyline. This one, I still didn't care, but at least it was in the contents of a movie where a lot of shit was happening at one time. So I will give it credit for that. It's hard to go through all the actors because everyone's literally in this. There's only 2 characters missing. One is Hawkeye and the other one is Ant-Man, and they do explain why both aren't there. I think one was more effective than the other. Like, Ant-Man's explanation was really good. Hawkeye's a little bit shaky there. And this is just... Okay, so speaking as an outsider from this universe, someone who really is not into it that much, you really didn't have to see any of the movies to understand this movie. You didn't need to see all 18 previous movies to understand this movie, in all honesty. But if you did, you would kind of care about some of the characters a little bit more. This movie, there's not a lot of depth to this movie. There's not a lot of layers to this movie. People were asking, did Marvel figure out the villain problem in this movie? And no, they didn't. While Thanos is the main character of the movie, in all honesty, his reasoning is really odd. Like, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I was kind of like, just going, alright, it's not terrible, but it doesn't have a lot of reasoning. And I heard people saying that, oh, this is that Thanos has a lot of depth. He doesn't. This isn't Magneto. You know, he's not. That's it. There's no comparison. He is kind of another villain who is doing something for vague reasons and for vague plot lines. Another thing in this, I guess I started with the bad, so let's keep going with that. Another thing that was pretty off on this movie, the first 40 minutes, literally felt, or for most of the movie, in all honesty, it felt like a collection of stories. Like you would go, oh, here's the ending of Thor Ragnarok. Here's the Doctor Strange stuff. Here's the Guardian stuff. Until they start like running into each other, and at certain points you kind of forget. It kind of feels like a collection of shorts from different movies that they intertwine until we get to like the second act. Also, once again, this is totally just because I don't. I had issues with. I don't think Civil War is as good as a movie as everyone says it is. Also, I there. I'm trying not to go into spoilers. I'm saving spoilers for the other one. There was when we finally get to more of the characters getting together. They're still split up, but then instead of being fractured like in the first hour or first 45 minutes, where it's like 8 different stories going on, when we finally settle in on 2 and 2 long battle sequences. There was the space one, which included Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and most of the Guardians. And then there was the Wakanda one with Captain America, Bucky or White Wolf, whatever he's called, Black Panther, Falcon, War Machine, Scarlet Witch, Vision, and all the Earth people. I kind of didn't care. Like every time, and every time they would go between them, or anytime they would spend extended periods with those guys in Wakanda fighting basically the same people that they fought in Avengers 1 and Avengers Age of Ultron. Faceless, nameless beings that it's just there to have a huge battle sequence that really doesn't mean much. And I was just wanting to go back to the space people with the Guardians, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange. And it was and I know a lot of people like the Russo brothers. I still don't believe they actually know how to shoot a hand-to-hand fight scene. They did the same shit in the Wakanda stuff here that they did in Avengers, Captain America: Civil War, where it was nothing but tight, shaky handheld cam and a million cuts. That way you're disorientated and you don't know what the hell you're looking at. It was a lot of that. But once they get to the big fights, the spectacles, the stuff you do come here for, they know how to shoot that better. I don't know. They go from the Jason Bourne school of freaking shooting fight sequences, which is nauseating. It's not as bad as Winter Soldier, where the first, or as Civil War, where the first 2 fight scenes with Bucky, I was more or less nauseous during the first one and wanted to throw up in the second one. But yeah, that was it. And if I was to say anything, I believe they're called the Black Order or the Death Order, whatever Thanos' crew is. They were pretty generic and really didn't do a lot, and they were just like kind of worthless. So, but enough of the bad. Let's go on to the good, and there's a lot of good in this. The interactions between the characters are absolutely wonderful, especially if you're a fan of the Guardians like I am. I'm a huge fan of the Guardians movies and their characters. When they run into Thor, absolutely wonderful. The interactions between the Guardians and Tony is really good, amazingly good. There's just this quippy quirkiness about it that's not borderline annoyance. It is just like these people being very chatty with each other, and it's really adorable and it's really fun. There is also a whole, like, this whole, when the Guardians meet Thor, this whole thing where Peter has an insecurity problem against Thor. So that's a lot of fun. Some of the action sequences are pretty cool. especially the space scene, fight scene near the end where Thanos is fighting the Guardian, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange, and Iron Man. It's really good. Josh Brolin as Thanos did an amazing job. I'm not gonna lie, at times I was looking at his performance and thinking he's really shining through the CGI-ness of it. In fact, and this is a complete compliment to both Josh Brolin and the person I'm about to reference. In many ways, every time I kept looking at Thanos, I kept thinking of Hellboy and Ron Perlman. And I was like, wow, they could have got Ron Perlman to do this movie, and it really wouldn't have changed. And I love Ron Perlman and the two Guillermo del Toro Hellboy movies. It's actors who are able to act through either prosthetics or CGI. Very good. We saw it in 3D IMAX, which was really amazing. I never felt... There are a couple of scenes where the CGI is obvious, but for the most part, it was really well done. It didn't feel its length. At almost 2 hours and 40 minutes, absolutely didn't feel like time was going on. I did have an issue at the beginning when we were jumping through stories, and that's about it. Acting, all the actors know their parts. They've been playing it for a while now. Absolutely nail it. Some of the bigger fight scenes are really fun. The introduction of characters, or just characters meeting each other for the same time for the first time. The interactions there were really good and really strong. So I like this movie. Is it the best movie of the year? No. Is it the best movie I've seen so far this year? No. It's probably not even in my top 5, but it is a solid action movie. I think everyone should see it. It's a lot of fun. Depending on... I don't think any... And another good thing I will say about this movie is I don't feel like any superhero got shortchanged. Like, everyone got the right amount of time. That's actually a more interesting note. I would like to know if people felt shortchanged by some of the characters. The ending was very daring. I'm not going to get into it now. It does make me want to see the sequel. And it does make me want to see another movie, but I won't mention it because that would be spoiler. Do stay through the credits. There's only one end credit scene, and that's it. So if I had to score this movie, I'd give it a 7.8. It was a lot of fun. Some of the banter is probably why I watched some of these movies. Action scenes were good. They do feel their length at times, and like I said, the two battle scenes that were going on at the same time near the end of the movie, one I had no interest in, and I kind of was fading out of consciousness during it happened. The other one I was. If you are a Marvel fan, I think you will like this a whole lot more because you'll be invested in more of those characters, the ones on Earth that I didn't care about. For me, I give it a solid 7.8. It's really fun, really good, and I always worry about these MCU movies going in because I always feel like, well, you have to have seen 19 other movies, or in this case, 18 other movies to enjoy them. This one, I didn't feel you needed to see all of them. Matter of fact, you can come in kind of cold just knowing about the commercials, and I feel like you will get a lot out of this movie. There's a couple moments at the end where I had a little frog in my throat. If you know what that means, what that reference is, good. But that's it. Yeah, 7.8 solid view. This is it for the non-spoiler review. We know you've seen. I know you've seen it. The box offices can tell you that you've seen it. Did you get choked up near the end, and at what? Did you get choked up at any part of the movie? Do you agree with me with the fight scenes? Do you agree with me about Thanos? If you do, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and we will be back in a little bit with the spoiler review, which is the one where we let loose on this. All right? So that's it for now. Bye.